Welcome back to Alcohol and Anime Night, the show that gets you drunker, that gets you fatter, and this episode may even teach you what gang to join when you're in prison. Stay tuned. Welcome back to Alcohol and Anime Night. We are at one of my favorite episodes. I believe it's episode 10, which is a big deal because it takes a lot to do some of these episodes, especially for a newbie like me that's starting out. Today we're trying something a bit new. My friend Z had sent me a new lavalier microphone to try out, and he is trying some new equipment for his studio and wanted to see what it sounded like for somebody doing a video podcast or a vlog like we're doing here. So if the audio sounds a little different, I apologize. I'm trying something a little bit new here. I'm going to try not to fiddle with this. Makes me feel like a pro though, doesn't it? No more headphones, huh? We've gone a long way. Anyway, if you like the sound of those, let me know. We're going to hear what the audio sounds like afterwards, but these are the Maono lavalier microphones. There's actually two of them, I think, so you can split. If you're having two people talk, you can have each person on the channel. I'm just using one channel right now. So anyway, so we're going to talk about that very briefly. So again, excuse any type of oddness in the audio, but we're going to go straight to our anime today. We're going to go to Akira Hiramoto's Prison School, and he was talking about kids in cages before it was even cool. Now, this is I'm going to say this is an anime that you really, you might be shocked by initially because it goes hard right off the bat. Now, from the get-go, the plot's not that unusual. You've got a school. You've got a scenario where it was an all-girls school and there's boys being introduced, only 5 boys in this case. Again, not that weird. There's an overbearing student council, not that weird either. But that's where the similarities kind of fall apart. In this anime, our protagonist, who is Kiyoshi Fujiono, he discovers he's going to be going to this private academy, which is actually a boarding school, so meaning that they live there on campus, of course. And he's only one of 5 boys that's allowed there, and we'll get to the other characters a bit later. Now, essentially, the plot is, and I don't want to give too many spoilers away, but it is called Prison School, so you might be able to guess what happens next. The boys, there's hundreds of girls at the school, but only 5 of them, and they're really excited because they think, hey, we're only 5 boys here, we're going to have our kind of pick of the litter, so to speak. It doesn't turn out that way. In fact, there's this organization called the Underground Student Council that's organized by Mari Kurihara. And she's actually the chairman of the school's daughter, and they create this underground student council that kind of rules over everything with using blackmail and intimidation and all these kind of gangster type techniques, even over her own father. And she uses kind of blackmail against him due to some of his proclivities. In any case, they don't want the boys in the school, period. And they're basically on a track to make sure that this never happens again, because this is the first time it's ever happened. They want to make sure that people never have boys at the school again. So they actually pretty much railroad these boys into eventually ending up in an on-campus prison. And it's their choice. Like, well, you don't have to go to this prison, but you'll be expelled otherwise. And we're going to tell all the other schools what you did. And, and so these boys end up going to prison on campus. Now, that's where it starts to get really wild, because all of the kind of wild things about prison, the crazy stuff that happens there, escape attempts, it all kind of goes, they turn it up to 11. I mean, anything that you can think of, you're like, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they did that. It's really, this is like a show that you'll even if you've seen some pretty intense stuff, and now it's not unlike that, it's not like a hentai manga, like where it's just like blatantly in your face, kind of, almost pornography type thing, but it pushes it right to the limit of what is on that thin line. And I think if you like this kind of stuff, and based on what I've seen here, the amount of views on my more crazy anime versus kind of the more normal ones, you guys like the crazy stuff, so I'm going to start delivering even more of that, because that's my jam as well. So Prison School, it it goes really wild. So the student council, the underground student council president, has two other people that she works with. One of them is Meiko Shiraki, and she is, you'll know her character. How about that? And she's kind of like the muscle of the group. And then there's Hana, who's like an enforcer, kind of. She's like a karate expert type thing. And so those three kind of rule over the campus with an iron fist, and especially over the boys. They're sadistic in the way that they actually treat those boys. And in the meantime, the boys don't help their case pretty much ever because they're boys, and every time the girls try to do something to them that's a punishment, somehow they take it as something that's like super sexy, and so it never helps their case at all. And there's definitely a lot of like strong like S&M overtones to this. It's clear that Mr. Hiramoto has certain proclivities, and he's put those into this anime, which is just fine. It makes it a lot funnier. And anything that they can do, if they, rather than take it and like have hints to it, they just blast it in your face and really have a fun time with it. Now, this anime came out in the summer of 2015. It ran for 12 episodes, as is typical, and then there was also an OVA, which I think I talked to you guys later about OVA. OVAs are actually they're some of my favorite types of anime because typically they're not something that's part of broadcast television. They're usually a special DVD or a special download or something that's outside of the norm. It pretty much always follows canon, but because it's not part of broadcast, it's kind of like the director's cut, or it kind of throws all the rules. It's like an unrated version, so they can kind of do whatever they want with an OVA. And that's usually what fans are looking for, is that little extra that they didn't quite get in the anime. They can get a little extra in the OVA because it wasn't allowed on broadcast. So I always recommend to check those out because they're a lot of fun. In this case, it gives you that 13th episode, which introduces what would have been season 2. Now, I think you might be seeing where I'm going with this. This is another incredible, very popular, very well done anime that has the season 1 curse. And it was aired in the summer of 2015. As of this recording, we're here in 2021. No season 2 yet. Is it coming? Who knows? It's possible. The show aired originally in Japan. It's simulcast on Crunchyroll, which is great for people. That's a really awesome service for people who have that ability to see the simulcasts. And I believe Hulu, as of this recording, has it as well. I don't know if they have the OVA, but they definitely have the episodes, the 12 episodes. So definitely check it out. Now, like I said, there's been no release date yet. So will somebody like Hulu, who might see if there's a big amount of people actually watching it, will they sponsor some type of season 2? Who knows? It's possible. And so I always say, when there is a show like this that's on a major streaming service, your Netflix, your Hulu, your Amazon, whatever it is, I say watch them. Even if you've seen it before, like it and watch it. Let them know that that's something that you want, because they may pick up the season 2 of it. They may create their own versions of it, like we saw with High Rise Invasion. And so I really recommend, if you've already seen these shows, still go onto those platforms. I recommend like it, add it to your thing, interact with it in some way, so that way it lets them know that you're interested in that content, even if you've already seen it before. And of course, it'll allow it to recommend similar content to you as well. So that's my advice for anime fans in the United States. Let the companies know this is something you want. This is something you're interested in, even if you've already seen it before. That's my problem, is I see a lot of things and I'm like, oh, that was really great 5 years ago, I'm not going to watch it again. That's the wrong attitude. The attitude is that they did deliver it to us, it just took some time. So reward those companies with letting them know that that's content that you're interested in. So just a couple of little things here, and I'm not going to keep this one too long because there's a lot of spoilers. Some of the other characters are pretty interesting. There are the 5 students that are the prisoners, the 5 boys, and there's Gakuto, who they call Shitty 4 Eyes. for a reason you'll find out. Shingo, Joe, Andre, and Andre is one of the many characters with enormous parts of his body. In this case, his head is enormous and cartoonishly large, which is funny. So it's not just the female characters that have abnormally large anatomy. So it is fun to watch. I actually, the one and only cosplay I ever did, and that was part of it, somebody said, you got to do a cosplay at this convention. I went to the Phoenix Comic Con, I think it was back in 2015, and I dressed as Joe, who has the hood, and I'll see if I can dig a picture of that up somewhere. I'm sure there is one out there. But check it out. Prison School is great. I also want to talk about our snack for today. And we had alluded to that a few episodes ago, that I ordered it was a wholeless Japanese popcorn. I love popcorn. Popcorn's an essential part of alcohol and anime night. And when I ordered it, there was a hole punctured in the bag. I don't know if it was like an injection or Wolverine cut it. I'm not exactly sure what happened, but I wrote the proprietor and told him what happened, and I really just kind of let him know, hey, like, you know, whoever's shipping this is doing a terrible job, and he promptly sent me out another bag free of charge, which also was punctured, but not as badly. And I didn't have the heart to tell him that the second one was punctured as well, but it was just barely like kind of nicked, as opposed to the other one had like a full-on puncture through it. So I felt terrible. I didn't want to have him send me another one out. So, but that being said, I bought this air popper just to have this popcorn popped, and this is the Starving Farmer heirloom Japanese hull-less popcorn. It's an incredibly white popcorn, shiro, you know, very white, and it's. I bought this air popper just to make this popcorn because I usually have a lot of microwave popcorn. It was a total failure. The kernels in this are so light, and because they're hull-less and they're not necessarily small, they're just very light, that when you turn on the air popper, it blows them all out and all over the ground. And so that's very frustrating, and it'll drive you mad when you're in the mood for it. So skip the air popper entirely. It is best done in a thick bottom pan. So make sure it's a real nice pan. Like, don't go with the cheap pans, the ones with a nice thick bottom that distribute the heat well. Put a little olive oil in the bottom, put the seeds in there, let them soak in the oil for a little bit, medium heat, and then just move the pan back and forth. I don't know why I'm doing this move. I'm sure somebody's going to make fun of that. And it pops up brilliantly. It's awesome. It tastes great. Hit it with some Himalayan sea salt. Hit it with a little butter, whatever you want. Great stuff. I recommend it. It's not cheap, but it goes a long way. So I wanted to give this guy a plug because he was really a good businessman. Just really sent out that popcorn, so I'm sure he's going to be super excited about having his product endorsed by some pervert anime show. But hey, either way, money's money, and it was good, so I recommend it there. Popcorn's an essential part of it, and it has less of that stuff that gets stuck in your teeth, and so give it a go, and I'll put the link there in our description. Again, I think I put it in there originally, but it deserves a second go. So anyway, Prison School, definitely recommend. I would give it the 2 shots at least, almost close to 3. If it would be 3 shots worth of kind of 3 stars if there's a season 2. But it gets a solid 2, and it's one I definitely recommend. And because it's available on some of the normal streaming services, I think you guys are going to like it too. My name was Scott. It's been great talking anime with you guys, and as always, come by.